So, what's the real secret to a marriage that not only lasts, but stays, passionate? We hear it all the time, right? It's all about finding the one, your perfect person. But what if that's not it at all? What if the key isn't finding the right partner, but actually building the right mindset with the partner you have? Let's explore that idea, how a simple shift in how you think can help you and your partner literally evolve together. So here's a big one. Are you and your partner compatible? I mean, that question can haunt even the strongest couples, can't it? Especially when things get tough. You hit a rough patch and that little voice in your head starts whispering, are we just not compatible? Was this a mistake? It feels like this huge make or break question. But what if that's the wrong question entirely? Seriously, what if compatibility isn't some destination you arrive at, but a journey you're on together? What if focusing on that one word is actually leading us all down the wrong path? There's a much more powerful way to think about relationship success, and it's one that puts the power to grow right back in your own hands. All right, so let's get into it. This whole idea comes from the amazing work of psychologist Carol Dweck, and it really boils down to two completely different mindsets, two mindsets that can literally determine the fate of your relationship. Okay, so this really comes down to two completely different ways of seeing things. On the one hand, you've got the fixed mindset. This is the belief that your relationship's qualities are just set in stone. So when problems pop up, you see them as proof of a fundamental flaw. But on the other hand, you've got the growth mindset. Here, you see your relationship as this living, breathing thing that you can actually nurture and grow. Challenges? They're not some final verdict on whether you're compatible. Nope. They're an invitation to understand each other on a way deeper level. And believe me, the consequences of which mindset you choose are huge. I mean, studies consistently show that couples with a growth mindset, they report way higher satisfaction, and they're much, much better at resolving conflict. See, a fixed mindset makes you want to run from conflict because it feels like you're failing. But a growth mindset, that actually leads you to embrace challenges. You see setbacks not as the end of the road, but just part of the journey. It builds incredible resilience. Okay, so this all sounds pretty great in theory, right? But how do you actually do it? Like, how do you make that shift from a fixed to a growth mindset in your real day-to-day life? Well, let's get practical. All right, I want you to listen to this phrase. We're just too different. Have you ever said that? Or even just thought it? It's a classic textbook fixed mindset statement. It just feels so final, doesn't it? Like a total dead end. There's nowhere to go from there because you've decided the problem is this fundamental, unchangeable fact about the two of you.
But now, listen to the reframe. Our differences are challenging, but they help us see the world more completely. Whoa. See what just happened? That is the growth mindset in action. You're taking the exact same situation, being different, and turning it from a deal breaker into a source of strength. You're not ignoring the challenge, not at all. You're just finding the opportunity inside of it. And that simple little shift in language can completely change the entire energy of a conversation.
Here's another really powerful tool. Celebrate the effort, not just the final outcome. Think about it. We're so often waiting for everything to be perfect. But a growth mindset is built on appreciating the process, the effort. So, for example, instead of focusing on whether an argument was perfectly resolved, you could say something like, I really appreciate how hard you tried to stay calm during that discussion. It validates your partner's work, even if the conversation wasn't perfect. And that just encourages them to keep trying, to keep growing. So this focus on growth and effort, it leads us right to our next core habit. Because in any long-term relationship, there's this really subtle trap we can all fall into. And luckily, there's a specific antidote we can use. And that trap is assumption. It's the enemy of long-term love. It's that quiet, creeping belief that you've got your partner all figured out. You think you know what they're going to say, how they think, everything. The moment you stop being curious is the moment you stop truly seeing the person right in front of you. So what's the antidote? It's simple. Relentless curiosity. So instead of getting furious about a difference, try getting fascinated by it. Ask why, ask how. You have to remember that your partner is not a static person. They are constantly evolving. There are always new depths to discover if you just, take the time to actually look. Okay, for our last tool, we're going to borrow a concept from a pretty unexpected place, the business world. Now, I know, it might sound a little stiff for formal, but trust me, it's a really powerful way to make growth a scheduled, non-threatening part of your life together.
It's called the Quarterly Relationship Review. And I want you to think of it as dedicated time to work on your relationship, not just live in it. By literally putting it on the calendar every 3 months, you're making growth an intentional habit. It's not something you only think about when you're in the middle of a crisis. And the agenda is really simple and structured. First, you start with celebrations. What's going well? What are you proud of? Then you review any challenges, but, and this is key, from a learning perspective, not a blaming one. Then you take a quick look back at your shared goals, and finally you look ahead to the next quarter.
And if you look at how this time is broken down, this structure is really intentional. A full quarter of the time, 15 minutes, is just for celebrating what's working. This is so important because it prevents the whole thing from just becoming a gripe session. It's a structured, 1-hour meeting that's really designed for connection and for moving forward together.
When you really get down to it, adopting a growth mindset is all about committing to the journey, not the destination. It's about building a toolkit so you can actually manage conflict when it comes up. It's about creating daily and weekly habits that maintain intimacy. It's about handling stress as a unified team and actively, intentionally creating a shared vision for a future that you are both genuinely excited about.
So, at the end of the day, the question really isn't, are you compatible right now? The real, more powerful question is this: who do you want to become? And who do you want to grow into together? Now, that's the adventure.